This training module will cover the multi-view functionality of Commence. Multi-views are used in InfoMax as the most powerful tool to access all of your business data. What a multi-view is basically a view where the top pane in this company multi-view or the top pane in this person multi-view is linked to the data in the bottom, and you see all these different tabs here of different categories: max funnel devices, max funnel projects, sold category, quote category, registrations, etc. Actually, I'll read them here: samples, leads, salespeople. So that's distribution salespeople associated with a customer up here, employees of that customer, post-it notes that you may have connected to it, or events that were connected to that company. So I'm going to close down this so we can take a look at the company multi-view a little bit closer. Expand this out here. So what we're going to look at is customer Criticare. So I'm typing that in, like CRI, and it jumped right to Criticare. So what we're looking at here now is the max funnel devices with Criticare. What's important to realize is that these records here don't only show up in the multi-view, they show up in other places as well as you're updating your records. It's just filtered to this. So if we look at a filter, I right-click, filter view, design customer company or principal company or working with company, and then it's selected item, selected item, selected item. So I selected that item, and any of these things that apply is the way things are connected here. I'm not sure if I explained that clearly. No other filters involved. So if it's a design customer, if it's a principal company, and if it's a working with company, this max funnel device will show up. And here, of course, Criticare is the company. So now if we go to Seiko, we should see those same Criticare records. Let's see, Criticare, those are the same records as we saw, and there's several other ones as well, companies showing up for Seiko because Seiko is the principal company. So now let's go back to Criticare, CRI, Criticare, and that's what we have there. Now we see there's just this one LPT project, LPD project, one part, or sorry, those aren't the projects. Project is medical and patient monitor. Those are the part numbers. So the projects, you can see the two different project names, medical, patient monitor. Now what have we sold to Criticare? You can very quickly take a look. This is sorted by invoice date, descending, most recent at the top. You can see that it's underlined. Quotes that we've done to Criticare, registrations that distributors have submitted for Criticare, samples we've given, leads. This is primarily DigiKey first time buy. You can see these are all DigiKey here. Salespeople associated with Criticare. These are the different distribution salespeople. You can see me here. I'm Joe Rowe. Employees of Criticare. This is a company directory. And again, post-it notes. None were entered. Events. So if we open up Criticare, you can see the detail form for Criticare. We see the same data: employees called on by outside salespeople, called on by inside salespeople. You know, in this tab over here, if we go over, you know, we can see the connections, but this is very hard to digest the information from within here. But this, you know, would have their phone number and their address, and this is where you'd update, you know, this main information up here. X out of this. But this is where you can quickly and powerfully see all the data here. So I think that explains that relatively well. Let's see. So an application of this data where it's extremely useful is, say that you're going to go visit Criticare and you need to refresh your memory on what's going on. You can take a very quick look at your projects that are ongoing. Of course, you can look at what's been sold recently. Got to remember that this sold data is from commission statements, so it lags reality by 2 to 6 months. Quotations that have done maybe been entered by the inside salespeople that you're not aware of. Same thing with with samples or with leads that have showed up. Good conversation starting points. Ask them why they brought in these samples and that kind of thing. Figure out where that's being used. Maybe check on what salespeople call on them and give one of them a call. Ask them if they know anything going on or things you want to follow up with for them. So that's a great application for this, just kind of keeping touch with the data associated to a given customer. So now just a real quick look at the person multi-view. We'll click on that. What you can do as well on a regular basis is go to your own name. I'm going to look at myself, Joe Rowe, and look at all the different devices that I'm working on. As you can see here, there's 192 different devices. I mean, some are lost. That kind of thing. We can sort by production or by prototype date. Again, it sorts this way, but I can see kind of what projects are upcoming very quickly by sorting on prototype date. And just a real quick overview. Of course, I can open one of these guys up, look in more detail about what's going on, but most of the details provided in this view right here. Look at what's been sold there recently. Same thing, for myself, I can look at all my customer, what's been quoted, and just see if anything jumps out at me. Same thing with the leads category. This is recommended on at least on a monthly basis. You go in here and look at all your leads. So that's how the person multi-view would be used. One last thing I want to cover in this module before ending is looking at the at the different filters you can look at here. So if you want to just look at people at the principals, you can do that little pull down here, sort by manufacturer. You can look same thing at distribution. Employees at all the different distributors. Really, it's a lot more useful in the company multi-view, so I'll open that up. If you want to filter, probably the main thing you'd want to use actually typically is looking at my customers, company mine, companies assigned to me. So you see here there's no filter on here, 1387 total. We can again right-click, filter. Nothing is selected here to filter. Nothing is selected on the summary tabs. Cancel. So this is a complete list of all customers. Now if we go to company mine, and we look at the filters, right-click, filter, called on by outside sales rep, me. That's the only filter. So that's just a filtered view of the companies. That way I can just kind of go down through here without hitting the principals and distributors, other people's customers. As you see here, there's only 913 of 1,300. But Joe Rowe calls on rest of the world, so he's got a long customer list. The last type of multi-view that that you'll interface with, and there'll be a complete training module on that. I just want to point it out because it's blue, blue, blue. Those are multi-views. Is the max funnel multi-view. And we've gone over hierarchical categories. So these are the different devices that are projects that I'm working on up here in blue, and these are the devices associated with the projects. So as you see, as I click down here, the device down at the bottom, device active. If I open up this, it opens up a device, max funnel device detail form. If I open up this, project detail form, here's the device down here, which by the way is the same device as here. So not to get long-winded, we'll wrap up our training module on the multi-view functionality within Infomax.